Some lady called DCFS and
What?
kind of made some claims that you had a child that accidentally shot themselves.
Absolutely not.
She said, yeah, he was stored in that in her basement.
I'm scared to death because I don't know what's.
But I just want to say that every time we're not.
Hold on, bring it down.
Okay, I'm sorry. Every time, even if we're not on her property and we're just like playing basketball over there because there's a basketball hoop,
I got you.
she just calls us names.
A recent jaw-dropping murder-suicide in New Jersey is making waves, featuring 57-year-old Peter Ventricelli, who, in a tragic turn, killed his wife Kelly, their 15-year-old son Anthony, and then himself. Their bodies were uncovered on March 7th, after a welfare check was summoned by a concerned family friend. This whole morbid event was broadcast on a GoFundMe page by Peter's nephew Carlo, who pretty much said they were at a loss for words. And guess what? The next part is even more mind-boggling.
A New Jersey murder-suicide made national headline. 57-year-old Peter opened fire on his wife, Kelly Ventricelli, and their 15-year-old son Anthony. Their bodies were found on March 7th. According to a GoFundMe page, the shock of this situation has our family at a loss.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any crazier, listen to this. Dr. John Delashwari, a forensic psychologist, breaks down the often missed red flags in abusive relationships, shedding light on the sneaky early signs of coercive control and psychological manipulation. He unpacks how abusers start with messing up your head before moving on to physical intimidation. The chat really digs into the nitty-gritty of spotting and handling these early warning signals in relationships. Buckle up, because we're diving deeper into the rabbit hole next.
But according to forensic psychologist Dr. John Delashwari,
it's such a difficult thing to see sort of warning signs when it comes to abusive partners, because I think a lot of times the person being abused, willing to engage in some kind of rationalization. It's a hard thing also, very beginnings of coercive control, psychological manipulation, engagement type behaviors that abusers will use.
Hold on to your coffee, because this part's a doozy. Dr. Delatorre connects the dots between the spike in murder-suicides and the intense stress and isolation brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic and those endless lockdowns. He suggests that these lockdowns turned up the heat on already simmering abusive situations by cutting off any escape routes the victims might have had during normal times. This nightmare scenario has left a lingering scar on relationships that's still being felt. Don't go away. The story takes an even darker twist as we explore just how the lockdown shook things up.
a separate murder-suicide in Linden, New Jersey, just weeks before. Husband shot and killed his wife and 2 teenage children. These are just 2 examples of the more than 300 murder-suicides this year. Statistically, that adds up to 11 murder-suicides, totaling about 600 incidents per year.
And just when you think you've heard it all, the lockdown threw a wrench in the works by trapping abusers and their victims together 24/7. This lack of breathing room likely pumped up violent tendencies and gave abusers an all-access pass to wield power without breaks. Dr. De La Torre discusses how these unusual circumstances forced individuals into a relentless cycle of increased abuse with nowhere to run. Keep your ears peeled, because up next, we're peeling back the layers on the gender dynamics in these tragedies.
And I think even though the lockdowns have been lifted, that individuals during that time, they found no outlet. We think of added pressures, work and relationships being primary components to someone engaging these problematic sort of violent behaviors.
Get ready for a plot twist. Dr. De La Torre tackles the sticky subject of why men are more likely to commit murder-suicides, especially in intimate partner relationships, with a staggering 81% of these incidents happening at home. He points to societal and cultural scripts about male entitlement as culprits that drive men towards domestic violence. This segment throws a spotlight on the complex interplay of gender roles and expectations in the context of violent behaviors. But hold your popcorn, because the narrative takes a tragic turn with an even more heart-wrenching case up next.
65% of murder-suicides involve intimate partner relationships. According to a study published by Harvard University, 59% of men who killed a female partner then committed suicide.
I think the audience needs to be clear is that it doesn't matter what gender you are. Anyone is capable of violence. There are a lot of males who engage in domestic violence and intimate partner violence.
Ready for a gut punch? We turn our gaze to the harrowing case of Massachusetts mom Lindsay Clancy, who strangled her 3 young kids before attempting to end her own life by jumping from a second-story window. Dr. De La Torre points out that while this dreadful incident involved children, it doesn't quite fit the typical murder-suicide mold. This part of the chat explores the different psychological drives behind such acts when only children are the victims, suggesting unique underlying issues, separate from adult-targeted domestic violence. Strap in, because we're about to dive deeper into the psychological labyrinth of these tragic events.
Massachusetts mother Lindsay Clancy made strangling her 3 young children to death for attempting suicide by jumping out of a second-story window. She survived, charged with multiple counts of murder.
When we're talking about why women kill, it's a little bit different than we're talking about domestic and intimate partner violence. There's some underlying psychological issues that are very different than, but if it's only the children, then I think it's something different.
Seriously, is this even real? Ruby Franca, once a celebrated YouTube mom who made her mark with parenting videos, now faces 6 counts of felony child abuse. This twist from a seemingly normal family vlog to a criminal courtroom drama is just unbelievable. You won't believe how it escalates from here.
Rose to fame on YouTube videos on parenting, childcare, and marriage, is charged with 6 counts of felony child abuse. Young boy climbing out of a window and rushing to a neighbor for help. We're digging into the Ruby Franke case and her timeline from mom to vlogger.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more intense. At 41, Frankie, together with her business partner Jody Hildebrandt, stands accused of grave charges involving the neglect and abuse of her own children. Police found the children in a pitiful state at Hildebrandt's place, which is just the tip of the iceberg. Brace yourself. The background story is even more jaw-dropping.
The 41-year-old YouTuber mom, now charged alongside her business partner with 6 counts of aggravated child abuse. I'm talking about a case where police discovered Frankie's emaciated children.
Hold on to your coffee, because this is where it all began. Back in 2015, Ruby and Kevin Franca launched their YouTube channel, 8 Passengers, sharing snippets of their family life, parenting, and homeschooling adventures. Their channel quickly skyrocketed to over 2 million followers. But wait till you hear what happens next.
And Ruby and Kevin started a channel on YouTube called 8 Passengers. And the videos were all about their family, parenting, and marriage.
I've never once forgotten to vlog. It's like forgetting to eat or forgetting to breathe. Like picking up the camera and vlogging, it's like I would never forget to do that.
Their channel became so popular, it eventually boasted more than 2 million subscribers.
You're not ready for this part. Amidst her tutorials and family outings, Ruby's approach to parenting, which included denying food as a punishment, sparked widespread alarm. These controversial parenting choices foreshadow the serious allegations that later emerged. Keep watching as the plot thickens even further.
My kids are literally starving. I hesitate to say this because it's going to sound like a mean barbarian, but which is all so chilling considering the allegations of starving her children. Her and Kevin not giving their 2 youngest children gifts on Christmas one year because they said they were selfish. Now, the 8 Passengers channel, it was removed by YouTube this year. Reporting indicates the family had also been posting less content.
Grab your popcorn. This is a doozy. Everything came to a head when Ruby's 12-year-old son, Russell, fled from where he was kept and sought help, showing clear signs of neglect and abuse. This led to the immediate arrest of both Frankie and Hildebrandt. Coming up, we dive into some earlier warning signs that were missed.
When, according to court documents and a 911 phone call, Frankie's 12-year-old son, who we know to be Russell, climbed out of a window at the home of Hildebrandt. He ran to a neighbor and asked him to call the police.
911, the address of your emergency.
I just had a 12-year-old boy show up here at my front door asking for help. You know there's been problems at this neighbor's house. He's hungry and he's thirsty. And he asked us to call the police.
This will make you shake your head in disbelief. Back in 2020, Child Protective Services were called to the Franke residence after a wave of online concerns hit their radar thanks to a Change.org petition. They found nothing substantial then, but oh boy, hindsight is 2020. You'll want to stick around for what comes next.
Well, back in 2020, Child Protective Services went to the Franke home to investigate thanks to a Change.org brought on by the viewers of her channel and people who were concerned with what they were seeing. So then 15-year-old Chad was sent from Utah to a camp in Arizona. It is a weeks-long wilderness camp for troubled teens. When he got back, he played apparently some pranks on his younger brother Russell.
This is where things get even stickier. In April 2022, another red flag was raised when a social worker noticed the Franke children wandering unsupervised. This prompted more checks by the police, highlighting the ongoing concern for the children's safety. And trust me, it doesn't stop there.
A social worker, the Department of Child and Family Services, DCFS, contacted police saying that 2 children were running unsupervised by the family home. Police officer arrived, kids weren't there. The couple's daughter, Shari Frankie, called police. See, Shari basically cut ties with her family after Ruby started working with Jody. But Shari reported that her siblings had been left home alone for days.
You might want to sit down for this revelation. In court, Ruby threw a curveball by claiming one of her children had been involved in molesting 20 other kids, including siblings and neighbors. This shocking claim complicates her defense and paints a grimmer picture of the household dynamics. But wait, there's more darkness to uncover.
If people knew the amount of years and time spent talking, I want people to understand that. And I want those kids to know that, because I think they thought they were abandoned. Well, now it seems that there is plenty of evidence that behind the scenes of these popular videos, children are now in the care of Child Protective Services, as she claimed that one of her children molested 20 other children, including a sibling, cousins, neighbors.
Can you believe what we're hearing? A woman calls the Department of Children and Family Services, DCFS, with bombshell allegations that Sushi Staples had a child who accidentally shot themselves. Staples is captured on body camera completely denying having a son or any knowledge of such an incident. Brace yourselves, because this roller coaster is just getting started.
Some lady called DCFS and kind of made some claims that you had a child that accidentally shot themselves.
Absolutely not.
That's Sushi Staples, caught on body camera, denying she has a son. She's lying.
This next part is jaw-dropping, truly. Sushi Staples, a mom from Illinois, is caught on body camera denying the existence of her son, despite the undeniable fact that she's fibbing. The clip sets up the tragic story of her 10-year-old son Zion's death. Buckle up, the drama ramps up next.
The entire sad story that includes the death of Staples' 10-year-old son. The case of Sushi Staples and the accidental shooting death of her son Zion, so incredibly sad. Staples is serving a 2-year prison sentence.
Things are about to get even spicier. The investigation into Sushi Staples kicked off on July 25, 2023, after police in Rock Island, Illinois received a tip-off from a longtime acquaintance of Staples. This ignited a deep dive into the murky circumstances surrounding the alleged accidental shooting of Zion. And guess what? It only gets more tangled from here.
Police received information from a woman who had known Staples for many years.
How you been doing and stuff like that, and then I heard her crying a little bit, and I asked her, I said, what's wrong? She just stated to me that Christmas will not be the same again. She then stated to me, I said, why, what happened?
You're not going to believe what happens next. We delve into the tragic details. Staples' daughter, Serenity, called her mom to drop the bombshell that Zion was gone. Initially baffled, Staples thought Zion had stepped outside, only to learn from Serenity that he was on the floor, bleeding. Trust me, the story takes an even darker twist just ahead.
That he shot himself. At the time, he was 9 years old. I said, what do you mean he shot himself? I asked her several questions like, how did he get a gun? Like, how did that happen? She explained to me that she had just stepped out to run some errands. She received a call from her daughter saying that Zion was gone, and she said, what do you mean gone? She said, is he outside? Tell him to get back in the house. She told me he kept saying that how he missed his dad or something like that.
Get ready for a heart-stopping moment. In a frenzied bid to keep her children, Staples confessed to buying a burning barrel from Home Depot with the grim plan to burn Zion's body, stashing him in the barrel in her basement. Hold tight, because the ensuing details are even more harrowing.
She told me she purchased a burning barrel from Home Depot or something like that, stored him in that. I'm like, what? She said, yeah, he was stored in that in her basement.
Now, watch as the drama escalates. When police showed up at Staples' home to dig deeper, she put on a full theatrical display, denying any knowledge of the person who reported the incident to DCFS and refuting claims of having a son who had shot himself. Keep your eyes peeled. What comes next is utterly unsettling.
You miss Staples?
Yes, how can I help you?
We got kind of a weird phone call. Do you know Latricia?
No.
No?
I don't know anybody out here.
Some lady called DCFS and kind of made some claims that you had a child that accidentally shot themselves.
Absolutely not.
It sounds crazy to me too. That's what
I am so sorry about this. My ex-husband, his new girlfriend, this broad is off the chain and filed a police report on her. I have went and put a restraining order on her.
Things are heating up now. Staples staunchly refused to let police search her basement without a warrant, fiercely protecting her rights, despite the officers explaining the grave nature of the accusations against her. The confrontation is about to reach a fever pitch in the next segment.
I'm sorry, I'm not about to have my rights violated. Someone makes your rainless allegations like this.
You know, we have to investigate it.
They had received a call about a child who hadn't been seen in many months.
Can I see the warrant, please? And I can call my lawyer. Can I see the warrant before we walk any further? I'm calm.
We have a valid search warrant.
Gear up for a critical turning point. The following day, police returned with a search warrant ready to comb through Staples' home. They relentlessly quizzed her about her son, Zion, whom she continued to deny ever having. The discoveries in the next few moments are downright jaw-dropping.
Next day, with a search warrant in hand.
I'm scared to death because I don't know.
So the reason we're here, okay, is because we're investigating a call that we had. Officers came out and talked to you last night, correct?
Yes.
We have to handle that real seriously. The allegations are that you have a son, that he's deceased, and he's here in this house. That's where we're at right now.
This is where it gets truly gut-wrenching. After a thorough search, police found the body of Zion in a metal trash can in Staples' home, dressed in Spider-Man pajamas. The coroner concluded that Zion had died from a gunshot wound around December 2022. The legal ramifications that unfold next are monumental.
Staples' house and going from room to room, and Staples was taken to jail. She was charged with several felonies, including concealment of a death and failure to report the death of a child. Police found Zion's body in a metal trash can in Staples' home.
The legal repercussions start to unfold. Sushi Staples was sentenced to 2 years in prison and 6 months probation after pleading guilty to several charges, including concealing a death and obstruction of justice. She later sought to have her sentence reconsidered, citing ineffective legal counsel. Stick around to see how this tragic saga wraps up.
Sushi Staples was sentenced to 2 years in prison. Last month, she asked the judge to reconsider her sentence because she is a first-time offender. No decision has been made on her request just yet. She's scheduled to be released from prison in January. And that's it for this edition of Crime Fix.
Can you even process this? A Florida woman accused of shooting her neighbor over a trespassing dispute pleads not guilty in court. The trial kicks off with a bang as newly released body camera footage is discussed, shedding light on a year-long neighborhood soap opera. Brace yourself, because the tea is about to spill.
Of shooting her neighbor over a trespassing dispute, he's not guilty in court. Body camera video gives us an inside look at a year-long feud leading up to the shooting.
This guy in the next building, there's no trespassing signs. The kids have been out of control.
Wait, it gets spicier. 58-year-old Susan Lauren is charged with manslaughter after a heated June 2nd encounter with Ajika Owens in Ocala, Florida. This all started over Owens' kiddos playing tag a tad too close to Lauren's living room. Hang tight, Lauren's about to unload her side of the story.
Susan Lauren charged with manslaughter in the June 2nd shooting death of Ajika AJ Owen. Officials say Lorenz shot at Owens through a locked metal door over a disagreement involving Owens' children playing in an open field in his apartment.
You're not ready for this. In her own words, Lauren vents about the local Rugrats, branding the kerfuffle as straight-up bullying while self-deprecatingly tagging herself as a Karen. She's not a fan of the racket or the cheeky names the kids throw around. Things are heating up, so grab your popcorn.
I don't want to be intimidated, screaming and yelling at me, telling me calling me Karen. I mean, they're calling me names. Really, we're gonna all simple bullying. I don't want to face this.
Lorenz explains neighborhood children play near her rental apartment.
Here's where it gets even crunchier. Lauren lays out her laundry list of woes, including migraines and back pain, all thanks to the symphony of screams from the Playground Battalion. Her mantra? Play somewhere else, please. But wait, there's more chaos to come.
They don't have children. I've asked them, please, the kids all live on that side of the street. For some reason, they love to play over here with my guys. I understand that. Horrible migraines. I had a very bad car attack. I need more back surgery. I don't want to do that. I've asked them, please, kids away. Other places they can play. They don't have to play here. They're screaming, yelling at me, telling the kids are not hurting anybody. Kids, they're not damaging anything. Damaging me because my migraines are so bad.
And the plot thickens. Lauren dishes out that her landlord supposedly told the young trespassers to scram, and even a no trespassing sign went missing. Mystery or mischief? The drama doesn't stop, folks, as we dive deeper into this neighborhood squabble. Stick around, the neighbors are about to chime in.
Lorenz alleges her landlord instructed the children to remain off the property. No trespassing sign was stolen.
They've been told by Charles not to come on the property. They have told, he said, like I said, they stole the trespassing. There wasn't trespassing sign. That's why there's no trespassing here. There's no trespassing.
What's going on this evening?
Lots of children screaming their full heads off, running around. I had my truck parked in front here, so I didn't have to listen to the screaming.
Get ready for some neighborly love, or not. During a sheriff's visit, the local Chatterbox crew can't decide if Lauren's the villain or just misunderstood. The kids, they just want their playground back. Let's see how the deputy handles this hot mess.
Deputies hear conflicting information when speaking according to neighbors.
Even come outside and play football with the kids or play.
Well, I figure, well, if the cops are there, it's probably calling every time. I mean, it's over stupidity. Literally kids just going around. Eyes over here. I mean, we all play over there. It's an open field, whatever.
It's getting real now. A sheriff's deputy lays down the law, telling Lauren the sandbox isn't her personal fortress. She's urged to let the kids roam free in the common areas, much to her chagrin. Next up, Lauren throws a curveball during a fiery debate.
Deputies to trespass children she alleges are near her rental property.
You don't have sole control over the parking lot.
Yeah, but those children don't live here. I mean, they literally live across the street on the other side.
I understand what you're telling me, and I get it, but you don't have sole power to say, hey, they can't be in this parking lot.
But he's asked them to leave. I mean, you can call Charles.
I'm just telling you, it's trespassing. Civil, because it doesn't become criminal until they're moved.
Things are about to explode. In the heat of an argument, Lauren accuses another neighbor of crashing the pity party. Literally. This just adds fuel to the fire as tensions skyrocket, and Lauren finds herself more isolated than ever. Don't go anywhere. The kids are up next.
She then accuses him of trespassing.
He's just trespassing right now. He's trespassing right now.
Came over to come ask us a question. What do you need us to do? What do you want us to do?
They can't come on when I'm on the phone.
I mean, I can talk to him if I can figure out who they are, but...
Because he's screaming all the time, too.
Listen up as the mini whistleblowers speak out. First responders get the scoop from the kiddos, who claim Lauren wasn't shy about hurling some choice words their way. It's a fresh twist in this backyard drama, revealing how deep the feud runs. Courtroom showdown incoming.
I just want to say that every time we're not...
Hold on, bring it down.
Okay, I'm sorry. Every time, even if we're not on her property and we're just like playing basketball over there because there's a basketball hoop,
I got you.
She just calls us names.
Okay.
Yeah, like literally, because that's an open spot right there.
Yeah.
All that is not her property because they all like to play football and stuff.
Okay.
So he's okay with it, and that's where they mainly are. They're more on his side.
What kind of names is she calling you?
It all comes down to this courtroom cliffhanger. Wrapping up this suburban saga, Susan Lauren stands firm in court, pleading not guilty to manslaughter. With a bond set at a cool $150,000 and more courtroom drama on the horizon, this feud is far from over. What's next in this neighborhood novella? Tune in to find out.
Back across the street, so I said, I'm sorry, what are you saying to him? And so I go over there. I told her, first of all, it's not on your property. On the site, you don't own this either. You're renting this here just like they rent over there. You don't own, can't tell technically if they're not in your personal space, that they can't walk the dog or even throw their football over.
Lorenz appeared in court where she pleaded not guilty to the manslaughter charge. Right now, she's being held on more than $150,000 bond.